Hey guys, I'm back for the next part of the Sonic Forces speedrun tutorial, and in this video we're going to be going over Capital City, the next Avatar stage, and also one of my personal favorite stages in the run. But let's get to it. So Capital City is a interesting level in the run. It actually has one of the highest amount of skips that you can do in the level. There are 3 major skips that you can do in this level. So I'm just going to go through these 3 skips. One thing I will say is that you don't necessarily have to do all of them for your runs. If you were to ask me, I would say that when you start out, you should only try and get the hang of the third run, or the third skip, I mean. And the other 2, you can sort of practice as you go along. You don't necessarily have to do them right away. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So, okay. When you start off at the stage, you're going to want to do a drill and a jump over to... Wait, let me... Right, see that platform in the distance? Don't grapple hook these things. That's just a waste of time. So you can just... do that. And then when you're over this platform, you just stomp so you can land here. And then mash drill, and then do a slide. Now here's where the first skip is. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to go for this. In fact, this first skip right here, I would suggest you don't go for this as you're starting out. Even I don't go for the skip sometimes in runs because I'm not entirely confident in being able to land at the spot I need to land. I will show it off here though. So as you can see right there, what I did to simplify what I did, that took me a few tries, so I did have to do a cut for that. As I said, it's not entirely consistent, but what I did is a drill and a jump on the left side of the slant that takes you up to the cutscene with Infinite. Now, if you land on that building in the distance that I'm sort of flying towards, if you land near it on a very specific position, then the trigger for Infinite activating the Phantom Ruby will happen while you're not in the cutscene. And then when the avatar starts to turn around, you use the stomp, and if you time it just right, you will land over here, and you'll completely skip the cutscene with Infinite. Now, it's a very tricky skip, which is why I don't recommend going for it on your first go-around, but at the end of this video, I will at least explain how to do it more in depth. But for now, I just want to get through the rest of the level itself instead of droning on about this one skip if you don't care about doing it. Anyway, when you get to this position, you're going to want to do either a jump and a drill over this box, or you can also drill and slide to the right or the left. The direction doesn't really matter. Just like that. Alright, the second skip is coming up. What you want to do is just a jump and a drill. Just like that. Alright. So what you saw there was, as you notice, I clipped through the floor, right? And the gist of it is, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that footage, I will slow it down, and I will overlay text on it just to give you a better grasp of how to do it. But as you noticed, I started with a stomp, and then I did a few quick right and then left inputs, and then I mashed stomp again. I was able to clip through the floor. It's kind of hard to take in just with me speaking, so I'm going to visualize it with text on the video itself. So take a look at that. So after you do the clip like that, you want to homing attack the grappling hook thing there. And here we immediately come across the third and final skip of this stage. Now, none of these skips really have a name. I guess you could call this one just Capital City skip, second half skip, whatever. But I'm just going to call it the big skip. So with the big skip here, you'll get the checkpoint anyway. But the gist of it is that you basically fly through the second half of the stage to the area where the goal is. Now, I'm going to show this off first, and then I'll explain how to do it afterwards. So as you can see, yeah, that was kind of crazy, wasn't it? So I basically had the avatar sort of weirdly hold some kind of weird pose, and they just kind of flew towards the end of the stage. I was holding up that entire time, and I was also holding down the A button to guide the avatar to this platform right here. So I'm just going to kill myself so I can show this off. Alright, so I'm going to go through this step by step. So the first part of this skip is pretty simple, at least. All you want to do is just charge up your drill all the way, and I'm going to let go here. Wait. So charge up your drill all the way, and then when you let it go, when you get to this building, you want to slide. So as the avatar is going through the drill animation, you want to slide. Let me do that. So I'm drilling, and then oh, okay. There we go. I thought I was going to fall because the way I paused made it look like that. But the reason that you slide is to gain a lot more momentum, because when the avatar does the grappling hook animation to this next building, they keep a lot of that momentum, and the speed that they need, or it's the speed that you need to be able to clip out of bounds, as you saw right here. Alright, so the first step is to drill and slide here. And then when you reach this area, as the avatar does the grappling hook animation, you're going to want to quickly, and I mean very quickly, do a slide to the left. Now this is going to be very slow, but you would do a slide to the left, and then you would quickly jump. So to visualize this, let me go back here. Alright, so you would do a slide to the left, and then a jump. So I can't really show it off here because of the collision, but you do a slide to the left, and then a quick jump. Just like that. Like that. Now, the reason you get clipped out of bounds is because, well, we're not entirely sure if this is the right answer, but we think that it's because, for whatever reason, the collision for the walls here don't actually exist until the avatar gets on top of this building. And then when the avatar reaches this building, the collision gradually spawns in, and it takes long enough to spawn in to the point where we can take advantage of the few frames where it's still not there, therefore letting us clip out of bounds, which is very helpful for the skip. So I'm going to do the next part. So for the last part of the skip, you want to angle the avatar, because remember, that building is flipped on its side, as you can see here. You want to hold an up left position on the analog stick, and then you want to gradually move it up to, not... You want to hold the up left angle, but not straight up. Like, never hold just straight up, because that'll just result in your death. You want to sort of hold it at an up left position, and then gradually move it towards the direction of up, but you never want to hold the analog stick in a complete up position, or complete north position. Right there. Alright, so the first part of that, as you saw, I was doing a quick slide and then a jump on the left. I'm going to slow that footage down just so you can see. Alright, I'm just going to die here. So what I was doing, as you saw, was a slide to the left and then a jump. Now, all I was doing, I was literally just holding up left, and I was... I hit B for the slide button, and then I was just mashing the jump button. As far as I'm aware, the jump isn't frame perfect, but it's pretty close. So I think you have enough leeway to button mash for it, because that's how I usually get it. I'm just drill, slide, and then a slide to the left, and then quickly jump. Just like that. Alright, so here's something that can happen. This is actually good to show off. So the reason this happened, where I landed on this collision up here... Now, I have no idea why there's collision up here, but whatever, it's Sonic Team. Now, I held too far to the left. Now, I didn't hold straight left in this position, but I held very close to that, which resulted in the avatar just landing on this random collision in the ceiling, or in the wall or whatever. Now, if this happens to you, you can actually take advantage of this, and you can still get a decent time. What I do is, as soon as you land on here, do not keep holding up. Instead, just kind of inch your way up, and then you'll notice that the drill becomes active. Now it's inactive. You see the drill is not activated, or your wisp pins are not activated when you're here. See, I can't use them. I'm mashing the button, and I can't use them. But when I get over here, it lights up and then I can use it. Now, you can still get a good time this level by simply doing a drill jump and then flying your way to the end of the stage as you would normally. All I'm doing is holding down the A button and up on the analog stick. I get here, I stomp, and then boom, I still made it to the end. So that's how, if the avatar lands on the wall, you can still save yourself and get a really good time with that. In fact, sometimes I actually prefer landing on the wall like that because it makes things safer. And honestly, if you're doing a marathon run, I suggest you go for that instead, just because there's a higher chance of that happening, and it's under the skip. That part of the skip is under your control more often. So I'm gonna go through that one more time. I'm just gonna die here. So remember, on the first part of the skip, I do a drill, and then I slide in the middle building. And then when I get to the last building, or the third building, I slide to the left, I do a quick jump, and then when I'm in the air, I hold an up left position, and I gradually keep moving more and more to the left, but not so far that I'm just going straight up. Alright, so I didn't have enough height to land there. Now, the reason for that is because while I got the whole gradually move up left thing, I didn't hold it. I started holding it too late for me to be able to get enough height. Now, the beginning of the skip was perfect, but I was just a little too late on the inputs. But not so late that I just outright died. Now, this you can simply recover by, when you land over here, you just do a stomp run, you know, to get to your max speed immediately. And then you do a jump over here, so you can homing attack that. So just like there, drill here, and then, you know, drill to the end. So that's those 3 skips in a nutshell. Like I said, for the first skip, I'm going to go more in depth with that after the level's over. But when you get to this point, all you want to do is drill and slide. Here's the last pathway. And you'll see the drill is inactive, but let me stop here. As soon as it becomes active, you're going to want to drill to the right, jump over those lasers, and then drill and then slide to the end of the level. Oh, I wasn't holding right there. Make sure you hold right when you do that. But yeah, drill and slide to the end of the level, and that's Capital City for you. Oh, nice daily mission. Alright, so before I do the whole go through the stages I explain things, I'm going to explain the first skip of the level, which is a little more involved. So, here's the first skip of Capital City that I mentioned. I wanted to go a little more in-depth on, because this one is more involved, and as I said, even I don't go for the skip sometimes, because I think it's sometimes too great of a risk, because this does lose about 16 to 17 seconds if you fail it. I'm talking about RTA. Now, it does still waste a lot of in-game time, and that matters for New Game Plus, of course, but either way, I start off the skip by getting around to this middle position here, and then you do a drill to the left, and then a jump. But before I show that off, I just want to let you know, you're going to do that drill to the left, you're going to slide, or not literally slide, but you're going to get past this wall right here, or these blocks, and then here's a visual cue. You see this weird metal tree thingy? So you see this pointed thing that I'm standing on? When I get right here, this is when I jump. So, you know, I drill over here onto the left side, and then when the avatar gets to this position, I jump to the left. So, like, I jump over here, and then I hold my position on the left. So I'm going to show that first part off. Just like that. So I might have to slow down that footage, but basically I jumped when I got around to that pointy edge of the incline of the stage. So the next part of the skip involves maneuvering the avatar while they're in the air to the position where Infinite will activate the Phantom Ruby. Now, you basically have to be lower on... You have to basically maneuver the avatar to a lower point of the stage. The trigger is actually pretty low, so you want to just make sure the avatar touches it. If you're too high, then you'll just fly right past the trigger and die. And if you slide too high up into the air, you'll actually activate the trigger for the cutscene, as I can show off here. Like that. See, I went way too high, I didn't even jump, and it just activated the regular cutscene. Like right here. Activates the cutscene, the avatar freezes, I can't stomp or do anything. And finally the cutscene's over, so yeah. You want to make sure you don't slide too high either. So as I'm flying through the air, after I do the first part of the skip, I'm just tilting up, not all the way, but I'm tilting up and holding down the A button. You have to hold down the A button to maintain your height. And I'm just sort of wiggling the avatar, not necessarily back and forth, I'm just sort of trying to move them towards where the trigger is. Now, you don't have a good visual cue for where the trigger is, but I just sort of have it in my mind when I should be hitting it. And I will see if I can visualize that here. So let me do the first part. So right there, I hit the trigger. And as you can see, Infinite is activating the Phantom Ruby. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to wait about a second and a half before I hit the stomp button. And then hopefully I will land on the platform beneath me, or above me. Now, often when you do this, the camera won't shift ahead and you won't really be able to see where you are. There's a visual cue you can use to know if you'll get it, but if the camera doesn't move to behind the avatar, then you just sort of have to wing it. Now, with this, I just do exactly that. I just kind of stomp after about a second and a half and hope I get it. What causes the camera shift to sometimes happen, I'm not entirely sure, but it probably has something to do with your positioning. Alright, so that I didn't get it because I was way too high up and I just wasn't near the trigger. Now what you can try to do to avoid that is at the last possible second you can actually hold down on the analog stick, which will cause the avatar to severely decrease in speed, and that will allow them to if you're close enough, to potentially touch the trigger for the Phantom Ruby. So when you get to this position, you're going to want to, as I said, drill and then do a jump when you get to the tree that I mentioned. And if you're ending up getting too high and you're missing the trigger entirely, I also suggest letting go of the A button, because that'll cause the avatar to basically just lose all their speed altogether. And if you do that close enough to the trigger, you can still sort of like fall into the trigger. Shut off here. So you might notice I lost some height. And then I do the stomp. Camera gets all weird. And then I land over here. Now that was cutting it very close. I almost landed at the edge. Or I almost landed beyond the edge. But that still made it. You see, that's the tricky thing about this skip. That's the frustrating part about this skip. There will be a lot of times where you think, oh yeah, I got it. I look like I'm about to land right on the platform. But then you land like a foot to the left of where I am, and then you fall out of bounds and die, and you have to do the skip over again. So that's the frustrating part about it. It's a very, you do or die kind of situation, because like I said, it loses close to 20 seconds if you fail it, so in the end, if you go for it, it's really up to you. I can't really give a definitive, you should totally go for it, or no, you shouldn't go for it. It's just kind of personal preference. It's just one of those things you practice, and if you feel confident in it, then you might as well go for it, and if not, well, that's fine too. So now I'm going to go through the stage and explain everything as I go, as I am usually doing now. So let's take a look at that. So as I start off the stage, I'm going to drill and slide to the first platform over here in the distance. I'm going to stomp into it, and I'm going to do the first skip here. I'm going to let go of A prematurely. I'm going to wait a second and then stomp. I just barely made it there, but that's good. So I'm going to drill and slide. I'm going to do the floor clip over here. Attack the grappling hook thing, or homing attack into it. And I'm going to do the last skip. So I'm going to do a drill, slide in the middle building, slide here, and then jump. I landed here, but that's fine. I saved it by doing a drill jump from it. I'm going to land over here and then stomp. I'm going to slide over here to the right. There we go. So the last skip at the end there definitely slowed me down a bit, unfortunately. Like I said, it's a backup strat that you can do, but it's not optimal. It's something you could would probably want to go for in marathons, but in general runs, you definitely want to go for the version that doesn't have you land on the wall. Now, as far as times go, I would take anything from a 50 to a 58. And this kind of falls more to the 58, but as long as you get anything below a 1 minute time in the stage, that is very good. I remember a time when I thought a 110 was a really good time in the stage. It's amazing how strats change, but either way, that was Capital City. Now, this is definitely a more involved stage than all the previous ones so far, so I probably missed a few things, or maybe if I didn't explain something well enough, so please, by all means, let me know in the comments. If you want clarification on something, you don't think I explained something well enough, of course. If you think that's the case, just let me know. But either way, I will see you guys in the next video about Versus Infinite, the second fight. See you guys then.